Rock to show up 2 months before the show to take things in a completely different direction. For better or worse, this is now the second year in a row that this has happened. Last year, it all worked out in the end. It gave us a much more exciting WrestleMania. I'm hoping for the same this year, especially since, let's be honest, I know we still have 8 weeks, but the road to Mania has been pretty dull so far. But that segment on Friday night with The Rock and Cody Rhodes was honestly one of the weirdest segments that I have ever seen in all my years of watching wrestling. I've seen great promos, a lot of them from The Rock. I've seen bad promos. This was just fucking bizarre. And it wasn't the first time that Rock and Cody have shared the ring and it devolved into something very awkward. This was actually the second time that this has happened. But it was the only real interesting thing that happened on SmackDown. I thought the main event was solid, and there was a Kevin Owens video that was good. It was brief, but it was good. But outside of that, this was one of the worst SmackDowns that I have seen in years, even with Rock on the show. SmackDown has been awful. And so it was with great curiosity and excitement that I saw on Thursday, the breaking news, that The Rock would be appearing on Friday's episode from New Orleans. And when I realized where the show was taking place, I thought, well, this is probably tied into the announcement of next year's WrestleMania, because the chatter has been that Mania was coming back to the Big Easy. Yeah, there were rumors of there being another kickoff event very similar to the one they did in Las Vegas last year, and then that never happened. Rock said originally they were going to make the announcement at the Super Bowl, but there were a few hiccups, and it ended up not happening. He didn't say what those hiccups were. Yeah, the NFL said, you're not taking the shine away from our end. Could take that wrestling shit somewhere else. That's what happened. So it only made sense that they would announce that, and they did. Rock said that WrestleMania 42 in 2026 will be returning to the Superdome in New Orleans, the same Superdome where Brock Lesnar ended The Undertaker's streak, the same Superdome where Charlotte Flair ended Asuka's undefeated streak, and the same Superdome where Braun Strowman won the tag team titles with a 9-year-old boy. A lot of history in that building. Now, I love New Orleans. I love that they're coming back there. I hope to be back there myself. Saturday, April 11th, Sunday, April 12th. Those are the dates. At least next year, it won't fall on Easter Sunday like it does this year. But that wasn't the only reason that The Rock was there. Now, I said that this was not the first time that Rock and Cody shared the ring for a very weird segment. Let's go back to the night after WrestleMania last year. Cody finished his story. The Rock joins him in the ring on Raw. He's got his Brahma Bull belt over his shoulder. And Rock asked Cody, "Can I hold your title? I would like to hold your title." The WWE title. And Cody is weirded out by this and says, basically, I'll let you hold mine if you let me hold yours. And people think there's something wrong with me, that I said the other night that there were sexual undertones to that segment on Friday. And so they swap belts. And the crowd that night breaks out into a chant of, "This is awkward." Yes. Yes, it was awkward. But Rock told Cody, your story with Roman Reigns is over, but our story has just begun. And everybody cheered because they assumed that we would be getting a match between them, probably at this year's WrestleMania. And Cody that night, he told him, "You're my boss, right? You're on the board of TKO. You're my literal boss. But just remember, I'm the champion, which means I'm your champion." Which is very interesting given what Rock said on Friday about wanting Cody to be his champion. They already established last year that Cody is Rock's champion. Rock said, "You are my champion." And there's one more thing, and he pulled out a Rolex watch that Cody had gifted him before their WrestleMania match, and he handed it back to Cody, and he said, "Don't you ever break my heart again." That was the last time that these two men shared a ring together. Okay, fast forward 6 months. The Rock returns after Cody and Roman's match against the Bloodline at Bad Blood. He stands on stage. He flashes the 1, 2, 3. He does the throat slash, and that's it. No follow-up, no nothing. Completely pointless outside of getting people talking, which I guess was the point, but it led to nothing. He wasn't seen again until New Year's Day. Raw debuts on Netflix. We get The Rock, but we get corporate Rock. We got Dwayne, the board member. who's breaking the fourth wall, and he's talking about how great business is and what a great relationship they have with Netflix. And Cody, my God, looks over at Cody in the front row. Cody's standing in the front row like he's a fucking fan. And he looks over at him and he's talking about what a great champion he is and what a great friendship the two of them have been able to forge. He's giving the man his flowers. He even shared some Terramana with him in the back, and people flipped out over that because it felt like they were killing dead any potential match between the two of them. Fast forward to SmackDown. Rock invites Cody Rhodes out to the ring. Rock gives him a hug, and he gives him a kiss. And again, he lavishes praise on this man. He talks about what a great champion he's been and how they've become great friends over the past year. Even our mothers have become friends, right? It's just one big love fest. But then he reminds Cody that he's a director on the board of TKO. TKO happens to own WWE. And that makes him the most powerful man in WWE, which of course is not true. But that's the story they're telling. And he says Cody is a great champion, but he wants him to be more than a great champion. He wants him to be his champion, which Rock already acknowledged last year on that post-Mania Raw that Cody was his champion. So I'm not sure what changed from then to now. Rock said he was talking about something bigger than just the WWE title. And then he started comparing Cody's Instagram followers to the number of followers that he has. You've got all these many millions of followers, but I've got 500 million, and that's what I want for you. And if Cody agrees to be his champion, he can make all of Cody's dreams come true. Even though Cody's dream already came true last year. He finished his story. He won the title that was taken away from Dusty. But Rock said he needs Cody to be his champion. He doesn't offer any good reason why he needs Cody to be his champion, when he already established last year that Cody is in fact his champion, and he acknowledges how great of a job he's done. Like, he checks all the boxes. Talks about WWE's business has been booming under Cody, $5 billion Netflix deal, right? They got fucking new gate records being set every month, sellout crowds. But for some reason, he desperately needs this man to be his champion. He said Cody could be the one thing that Rock never had, his brother. And that last year it was supposed to be Rock and Roman for the title, and Cody fucked it all up, and then he ended up slapping The Rock on that road to WrestleMania. And so for all those reasons, he needs Cody to be his champion. None of that really makes any sense, but that's how he tried to explain it, as far as why he needs him to be his champion. And he gave Cody until the Elimination Chamber in Toronto next weekend to give him his answer. Go home, talk it over with your wife, and you give me your answer. Like they're running for office together, and he wants Cody to be his vice president. He wants him to be his running mate. You know what's scary about it, though? Honestly, one day I could see that. When Cody is done in the ring, I mean, I could easily see Cody getting into politics. Rock, of course, has said, I don't want to run for president. I got too many skeletons in my closet. But, people still talk about Rock, but one day he might run for president. It's scary, but I can envision a ticket one day of The Rock and Cody Rhodes legitimately running for office. That's what this felt like here. It felt like he was making the pitch to Cody to do just that. Go home, talk it over with your wife. Yes, because it's such a big life change from Cody, what he's already been doing on the road every single week, wrestling and doing media and Make-A-Wish and meet and greets and everything else that this guy does. Rock says the thing that he wants more than anything else in this world is that, and he's pointing at the WWE title over Cody's shoulder. And Cody's like, is that what this is all about? He goes, no, it's not about that. That's not what I want. Cody, I want your soul. There was a lot of mixed opinion online about this segment. Some people thought it sucked. Other people were throwing around the usual words like cook and cinema. That segment was cinema because, of all the things that it could potentially lead to, which I'll get into, and it could end up going in a very interesting direction. But no, this segment did not cook. And anyone who thinks that this was cinema has never seen a fucking movie in their entire life. If you took this scene, in context or not, and you put this in a movie, it would be Battlefield Earth level bad, okay? The wrestling bubble is real, folks, okay? It is a very real thing. I'm in it too, because I have to be, but I still try to keep my head outside of it a little bit so I can still get some, oxygen to my brain. Rock was trying to manipulate this man here in this segment, right? He reminded him about the power that he has. He's the board, he's on the board, he's the director, all to try to get him to be, his champion, whatever the hell that means, to attain a level of fame and fortune that one would think Cody already has, right? Yes, he's not, what Rock is in Hollywood, but he is the top guy in the company. He's the WWE champion. I guess that's not enough because, it's The Rock. And to The Rock, nothing is bigger than The Rock, as we all know. The segment itself was not good. Okay, it was meandering. Rock was out there repeating himself over and over again, which is a thing that he does in all of his promos now. And the crowd in New Orleans did not react all that much to any of this once he got the Superdome announcement out of the way. They were very excited for that. When Cody came out, they were loud. They liked Cody. They obviously like Rock and, him being back on the show. But after a while, they sounded bored and confused by a lot of this the longer it went. One thing that it did do is it added a big hook to the Elimination Chamber by letting you know that Rock is going to be on that show and Cody is going to be on that show. Adding Rock to the show is smart, right? It'll drum up even more interest in it. It should sell more tickets. Right now, they've got around 27,000 tickets out in the Rogers Center. Okay, that's the old Sky Dome. That building fits a hell of a lot more than 27,000. So this should help goose ticket sales a little bit. Where I think the story is going is Rock wanting Cody to be his corporate champion. I talked a little bit about this on Friday night in the review. Rock wants Cody to be his, quote unquote corporate champion. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It really doesn't. They did this story years ago with Rock himself becoming the corporate champion. But that made sense because, Vince McMahon hated Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin was the antithesis of what he wanted in his champion, right? Southern redneck, drinking beer, cussing, thumbing his nose at authority. He wanted that title off of him and onto somebody who would better reflect what he was looking for in his champion. The Authority, right? Didn't want Daniel Bryan as their champion. He was a B-plus player. He looked like a goat. He wasn't what they saw as championship material. So he won the title anyway, but a few months later, Seth Rollins joins the Authority. He was more in line with what they were looking for. They groomed him for that spot. Cody carries himself already like the quintessential corporate champion. He looks the part. He sounds the part. He's the first one to the buildings, the last one to leave. He does all the media, all the charity stuff. He is that guy. So I'm going to need a little more explanation coming out. Now, this was only the first segment, yes, but I'm going to need a little more explanation as to why he wants Cody, of all people, to be his champion after already acknowledging previously that, yes, you are my champion. If he still had heat with Cody, if he didn't want Cody to be the champion, you stole my match with Roman Reigns, you blew up the biggest WrestleMania match of all time, then you beat my cousin and you took the title away from my family, and he enlisted someone else to be his champion or his corporate stooge, that would make more sense to me. And that may be where things end up going when Cody ultimately gives his answer and says, no, I won't be your champion. It may be somebody else in that spot, and that's where I think this story could get very interesting. So I'm not saying this can't wind up being a really fun story, but this being, chapter 1, let's call it, or maybe chapter 2 if you consider last year chapter 1. Right now, I could only judge it by what we saw. And what we saw on Friday was not the home run that some people said it was. But it can be eventually. It can be that. Now, they actually held a post-show press conference on Friday after SmackDown, the way they do for their PLEs. And it was Rock sipping his tequila and killing kayfabe as he answered questions about the storyline, saying that it doesn't even necessarily need to lead to a match between him and Cody. He said, in the world of pro wrestling, as we all know, everything will culminate in a match. Whatever happens, it'll end up being in the ring. What I really love about this rare airspace that we have gotten to with this character of the final boss, it's like this white whale unicorn in that with the final boss in Cody Rhodes, it's not about the WWE title. It's not about having a match. It never has to culminate in a match. That's a really special place to be, I think, creatively, and just think character-wise and how much fun you can have. To be able to have a storyline and two characters who are very popular, to never have to get into the ring for a match, but yet still hold this really unique compelling, off-putting, kind of weird. He wants his soul. What does that mean? I love it. And then he said that he and Cody had a few tequilas after their segment. That's nice. He got to plug his tequila and his movie during that segment, by the way, on Friday. You can't rule out Rock against Cody down the road. Yes, he said it doesn't have to culminate in a match. That doesn't mean Rock and Cody is not going to happen at some point. It could very well still happen, but it's not happening this year. I don't think it is happening this year. It's not happening because we have an Elimination Chamber match coming up this Saturday, which was kind of lost in all the noise of this. John Cena is trying to get to WrestleMania to win his 17th World Championship. CM Punk is trying to get his very first WrestleMania main event. Drew McIntyre is in it. Seth Rollins is in it. Damian Priest is in it. Logan Paul is there. One of those 6 men will be challenging Cody for the title at WrestleMania. So let's take this one by one, okay? Is Cody Rhodes going to take The Rock up on his offer? I don't see it. I know people are infatuated with this idea that Cody is going to turn heel and we're going to get heel Cody. Cody is the man right now. It would be foolish to turn him heel. This isn't a John Cena situation where he's getting mixed reactions and they're sick of him being on top and being babyface for so many years, right? You got to turn heel, right? The fans have stuck with Cody. You know, and he's only been back for 2 years. The fans have stuck with this guy. They have not soured on him. They believe in him. They like him. There's no need to turn Cody Rhodes heel right now. And frankly, there are more compelling stories that you could tell with some of the names in the chamber ending up as Rock's, again, I'll call him corporate champion, however they want to describe it. But there's a lot more compelling names. John Cena. Now, I dismissed the idea in my review on Friday, but as I went back and forth with people later on in the stream that night, somebody pointed out that promo that he cut after the Royal Rumble where he declared for the Elimination Chamber because he didn't have to qualify. He said, I'd like to think with all my equity and, you know, me being who I am, I could just declare for the match. And I thought it was very odd how Cena argued in that speech that he gave, like what's best for business is for him to go to WrestleMania to win his 17th world title. It sounded very self-serving, which is out of character for the John Cena persona that we see on TV. But I've also pointed out to you how long this losing streak is that Cena has been on. The man has not won a singles match in like 7 years. He went to the Royal Rumble and he lost. He sees the chance to win number 17 slipping away. If he's feeling desperate enough, maybe we get heel Cena siding with his old rival for one last run before dropping the title back to Cody at SummerSlam. I still think it's unlikely that we get heel Cena during his retirement tour, but you can at least try to make sense out of it. It's basically the Steve Austin heel turn at WrestleMania 17, which didn't turn out too well for the company. Even Austin admits it was a mistake. But you wouldn't have that problem now, really, because Cena is not the guy anymore, right? Austin was the guy. He was still the guy. It was him and Rock, but Austin was the guy back then, right? Full-time, most popular babyface on the roster. John Cena, this is it. This is it. This is a retirement tour. I can't even call him part-time. He's less than part-time, right? I mean, soon he may be part-time, but so far, I mean, how many times you can count on fucking one hand in the last 3 years? How many times we've actually seen him? In one hand in the last 3 years, how many times we've actually seen him. So you can pretty much do anything you want with him. It's not like it's going to have a major impact on the roster or a major impact on business. If anything, you know, business would probably boom for a short John Cena heel turn. He's no longer their lone top babyface like he used to be, where everything, Vince McMahon built everything around this guy. Many, many times at the expense of others who could have gotten over and potentially ended up in a spot like that. It was all about John Cena. They actually turned, by the way, they turned Steve Austin at the same time that Rock was leaving to go film a movie, which left them with The Undertaker and Kane as their top baby faces. I don't think there was a lot of forethought put into that. Like, there's a lot of reasons why that was a bad idea. But again, with Cena, that's not going to be an issue. They have other baby faces they can plug in there to fight him. Cody, Roman, Punk, Orton, AJ Styles, right? They have lots of options there. Then there's CM Punk. And this is another one that I dismissed the other night, but you talk about blowing things up. This would blow a hole wide open into things. And it wouldn't really fit for Punk to cozy up to The Rock of all people, or for Punk to go corporate. But if he's desperate enough to get that WrestleMania main event, and if he's desperate enough to win that championship, and he sees that window closing, it can make people do crazy things. Or it would just prove that Seth Rollins was right in what he said about this guy all along, and Drew McIntyre was right in what he said. Punk said it when he first came back. He's here to make money, not friends. That last promo he did with Cody, that was great TV. That was right before the Rumble. I would love to see Punk against Cody at WrestleMania, more than I would Cena against Cody. This would add a wrinkle to things that nobody would see coming. Punk would just have to explain the why. Because remember, he's still got that favor from Paul Heyman that he hasn't cashed in yet. But the idea of Punk winning the title and going heel, it's not like he wouldn't have enough people to work with. It's funny. Years ago, I pitched the idea of having Cena go corporate in like early 2012, after the whole summer of Punk. Flip the entire dynamic and have babyface anti-authority CM Punk trying to take the title from heel corporate Cena. And here we are talking about just the opposite possibly happening. But I'm intrigued. If they focus on the whole, I'm here to make money, not friends. I'm here to do business. To me, that's really the only way you can make this work, without completely betraying everything about the CM Punk character that we've come to know over the years. And then you can build to a John Cena CM Punk match one last time. Maybe Punk is the one that Cena beats to win number 17. Maybe it's not Cody just getting his belt back. Or SummerSlam is where you do Punk against Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman caught in the middle. Right? You've got a couple of different options there. The only thing is, if Punk doesn't cash in that favor with Heyman to headline WrestleMania and win the title, I don't know what else the favor could even be. Like, once he does that, what's left that he would even want? But I look at the makeup of this Elimination Chamber match, it is easier to envision some of the other names in the chamber ending up in the spot